is helping us as a bank representative for all your financial transactions that you do, right? For example, in your university, can you have a bot? If you have, how can you use it? Right? In your university, for example, if you have a bot, how can you use it? I given you the example of bank, right? In the bank, what will happen? All your accounts details, anything if you want to get to know, you can just converse there, and it will help you with the details. The same way in your RJKT campus, if you want to have a bot, how can you use it? Any idea? Okay, so let me tell you. So for example, if somebody is letting you know that on so and so date, so and so session is there. You want to know, what are the holidays we have in the in this current academic calendar. Of course, we'll be have that academic calendar already given to you at the beginning of the year, but still, if you have such question, right, or you may want to know about what is the menu, right, in the mess today, right? So these kind of questions instantly, if you want to get to know, so the chartbot, right, if you train the chartbot with the right data, so it can back you for your any natural questions, right? And igniting you very simple thought that how can you use thought in your own RGKT, right? And how to build it is a secondary question, but how can you use it if at all it is there, right? So may not be in the academic institutions, it may not help you in India, but in the very prominent foreign institutes, where digital system is established in those particular universities, right, this will help a lot. Okay, fine, sir. I think I'm taking some more time over in explaining some applications of AI. But like this, right? If we talk, there are plenty of applications of AI, and in the healthcare majorly. In the healthcare, right? These days, if you see corona is there, and how do you detect the coronavirus? In what ways you do? There are some tests, it. But using the X-rays, can you detect the coronavirus? Yes, there is a scan. CT scan is there, right? CT
Yes.
scan, X-ray also will help us to detect the corona by looking at your lungs, right? The doctor will be able to understand, okay, you are infected with the corona or not, right? But that whatever the doctor is doing, the same can be done by this AI system. This AI system, will see your X-ray of your chest with a webcam, and it will understand that your lungs, and accordingly it will detect, it will be able to understand, okay, you are affected with the corona or not. That is already implemented, and if you have seen in the news somewhere, some university students have already has developed the system for it, and they have succeeded in some way. Okay, so in the healthcare industry, in the agriculture industry mainly, right, our India is dependent on agriculture a lot, and you can help the agriculture in much better way using this technology, right? So like that, if I talk for a while, it will go hours about the applications of, right? Fine. So I hope you understand, where can you apply AI at the very high level I have talked, but not that is something you're going to do as a data scientist every day. Okay. So whatever the applications I have just now said, they belong to advanced analytics. Okay. So advanced analytics, that is what user people or the industry right now calling as the AI. Okay. And there is something called as the analytics. Maybe this is what something you do every day, analytics. Advanced analytics is something you will do in the very few organizations. Not every organization is right now doing this AI stuff, but they claim that they are doing AI, but in reality not that much. Okay, very few organizations over the world are actually doing this actual AI work. Okay, so whatever I said just now, the example we talked, they belong to advanced analytics. Okay, so that involves the concepts of machine learning and deep learning. I'll talk about this in a while, don't worry. What is the machine learning, what is the deep learning, and what is something you have to learn, right, if you want to become the data scientist, or if you want to use these advanced analytics to solve certain problems, right? So what is something you have to learn? All those things I'll tell you. But those examples I gave you actually belong to these advanced analytics. Okay, so these system AI systems, technology systems, usually they mimic our human learning ability, okay, to solve variety of problems. For example, as I said just now, they can recognize the patterns in the very complex and huge volume and high variety of data. Okay, and as I say, it helps in the crime investigation, agriculture and healthcare and education and in plenty of other ways. Okay, yeah. So somebody wants to try to talk anything? Any question? Okay, sir. So that's what little bit about very high level introduction of the AI applications. Now I'll go into the actual stuff. Actual stuff means this is something very important for you to, get into the data science profession. Okay, analytics. And of course, advanced analytics is very important. But before you understand, these topics, or before you implement these topics, better you are aware of these things, analytics. I'll talk about this. Fine. Let me take a break now. I mean, break means let me take a pause now. And if you have any questions, I'll try to answer them, and then I'll proceed. Okay. I'll wait for 1 minute. If you have any questions, you can answer. Otherwise, I'll assume you don't have any questions, and then proceed. Okay. Fine. I'm taking a pause now for exactly 1 minute. You can pose your questions if you have any. Yeah.
Hello, sir. How are you? As you said, the face recognition to AI. We have seen that Apple is, their hardware used to work as a face recognition, whereas remaining phones use their software as a face recognition. So, what are the main differences, sir?
Face recognition in the app. So I could not exactly.
They are using hardware.
Okay, okay, fine. Fine. So at the end, right, hardware is just only a machine that can run a piece of program, right? Hardware, whether it is Apple hardware or any other hardware, so they'll sync with the software, and accordingly they'll help us to certain problem. And usually what happens, right, very big companies like IBM or Apple, or in the modern days any hardware manufacturing companies, usually what they do, they develop the software that can tightly integrate with their own hardware. They claim that, so when you use our face recognition software with our hardware infrastructure, then you can get the better quality. That is what they say. Okay. So maybe if you're talking about the Apple hardware, maybe they're claiming that when you use our hardware with our software, then you will get the better service, or better quality of the particular service, right? Maybe that is what they're claiming. But hardware doesn't matter in the case of in AI. I mean to say, it matters in the case of deep learning. If you are training certain algorithms, right, that is where the hardware is important. But when you want to use the a particular application, software application, there hardware is not that much important. Anyway, so at last, what should you understand? So Apple is building better quality image recognition systems. Okay, that is something you have to take as a important point than their hardware. Okay, so that's all. Usually the companies build their own hardware and their own software to provide better quality, and that is one of their market strategy also. Okay, I don't think I have answered you in a convincing way for your question, but if at all this session is being recorded later, if you listen to my answer again, and if you search in the internet, you will get a very good meaning of what I'm talking. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. Fine, sir. Shall I proceed?
Sir, what is the difference between machine learning and deep learning?
Yeah, I'll talk in a while. In the maybe next slide. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Sorry, some little disturbance. Yeah. A few seconds. I'll mute. Yeah. Yeah. So, sorry for interruption. Fine. So now whatever I'll talk, this will, very critical for, your job preparation and all the stuff. Let me jump into it. So analytics, sir. So this is the word you hear a lot in the current job market. And as I said, all these buzzwords, right? Data science and analytics and artificial intelligence and machine learning and deep learning, right? So in what way they're connected, right? So actually, what does a data science, do? If we try to answer this question right, so then that is where all these questions, these keywords can be answered. And even just now, one of they asked a question, right? What is the difference between machine learning and deep learning? That also can be answered. So I'll try to now focus on this. What is a data science profession? What does a data science will do? So this question, let's try to answer, and this actually will answer rest of all the questions. Okay. So let me take and write something here. Okay, sir. So you definitely might have gone through the internet and you might have seen that, what does a data scientist do? Right? Okay, so if you have gone through the internet somewhere, anytime, or if you heard from any of your seniors or somebody, so usually what is the role of data scientist? Okay, let me answer. Let me pose different question to you. So as a student, what do you do every day? Your day schedule, right? So as a student, you have a role. What do you do? What is your role? Every day, of course, you do your daily routines and you spend enough time for the classes. Then you do something and you take your notes and you better prepare for the exams, right? And all that stuff you do as a student,
Yes.
right? Yeah. And as a for example, as a software developer, right? So as a software engineer, right? So if your brothers or if your friends, somebody already software position, right? Already, if they're working as a software engineer, what they do? I guess not exactly. You can tell me. Usually, every day. So what do you think that software engineers do?
Maybe the software engineers develop software for businesses, like they may products range from business applications, games, maybe some network control systems, operating systems.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So they develop software, right? They develop programs, nothing but software, okay, to solve some applications, to solve some problems posed by the business, right? So for example, you have your software application for your RGVKT, right? You have a website, right? For example, your website means there is a program, there is software, so that has been developed by somebody, right? So like that, organizations will have not only websites, they have plenty of internal applications. Okay, so that means they rely on the software engineers to develop software for them. Okay, so usually every day the software engineers do this activity. They write programs. Okay, nothing but they develop software. That's all, right? And like that, if I ask the question, what does a data scientist do, right, in the day-to-day work? What is the day-to-day work of data scientist, right? If that question comes,
They analyze the data, sir.
exactly. So
And they like they extract the important matter from the raw material, like stuff, data.
right, sir. Yeah. So they analyze the data, right? So that's what they do day-to-day in everyday work. So this has a very, very, very big meaning, right? Analyzing the data means what? So what kind of data they analyze, right? So like that, plenty of questions will come and I'll try to answer them. Okay, that is what will help you to understand. So how to get ready for the industry needs of the data scientist. So definitely, I'm going to share you very key information that what actually I do every day, what my team does every day as a data scientist, right? So that means what I'm telling you, if you want to come to the industry, nothing but if you want to be in the data science position, then I expect that whatever I'm doing, you are also should be able to, you should also be able to do it, right? As a professional, data science professional. That means I'm giving you an alert, that a kind of clues that okay, these are something you have to do so that you can become a data scientist, right? So in that way, let me deliver you some key points here. So as our buddy said, yes. So data scientists usually they analyze the data. Okay. So here, this is very, 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 very important item, right? If there is no data, do you think there is a role of data scientist or there is a role of analyst?
No, sir.
No,
No,
right? If there is no data, means no data science, right? Forget about no data science. If there is no data, is no better world. Okay. If you don't collect the data, if you don't record the data, then you can't have better life. Okay. So can I tell you one best example of collection, the data collection, importance? Okay. There is right now some message going on in the ocean, right? In which ocean? Maybe it is in the Hindu Ocean, right? What is happening right now? There is a hurricane, right? With the name Nivar or something, right?
you are.
Yeah. So who has told us that this kind of hurricane is going to come in next 10 days or 5 like that? Who said us?
Weather department.
Exactly, right? So
Forecast.
exactly, right? There is something called as the weather forecasting system. Okay. Yeah,
Yes,
weather
sir.
forecasting department is there, sir. In the government organization, I mean, in the government, they have a separate department for it, weather forecasting department. So their role is to collect the data, weather data every day. Okay. Their role is to collect the weather data every day and analyze it. They analyze the weather data. Accordingly, they predict. Forecast means what? Forecast means guess. In the simple words, forecast means guess. Okay. Guess or predict. Able to, so that means by analyzing the weather data, so the analyst, right, the weather forecast analyst is able to predict the the climate condition for tomorrow or day after tomorrow or for next week or next month. So somebody has to mute it. Kirti Kaparu, yeah. So yeah, yes, sir. So if somebody has to forecast something, right, what they need? The data, right? If you want to guess something, you need the data, right? Without having data, you can't guess anything, right? If you can't get, or if you want to guess, or if you can't predict the future, right, then you can't have the better plan for tomorrow. That means you can't have a better world. Okay. So the weather forecasting system is collecting the data. If there is data, you can have some information about what will happen tomorrow. If there is no data, right, so then you can't predict something about tomorrow. For example, if I ask you whether it will rain on tomorrow, what will you say? Forget about the weather forecasting system. So if I ask you, it will rain tomorrow, what is your response?
Maybe or may not.
That is one
Maybe, may
answer.
not.
That is second answer. And there are certain people, they say yes, it will rain. And when I say rain, you should ask where, right? Where? Is it in the Kadapa or is it in the Hyderabad or where, right? Whether it will rain in the Kadapa tomorrow, right? So some people may respond may or may not be. Some people may respond yes, right? You will give the probability to it, right? Maybe or may not be means you are telling there is 50% chance that it will rain, 50% chance that it won't. Probability. There will be some people with some more confidence. They say 80% I'm confident that it will rain tomorrow, 20% it may not rain. So how do you get that confidence, right? Based on your ability of analyzing past data. So in the last 1 week, what is happening in the Kadapa with the climate? So was it so sunny, cloudy, or rainy, right? If last 3 days it is being raining, right, then you may guess that on tomorrow also it may continue to rain. Day after tomorrow, it may little go down. After that, it may go down further and it will be fair again. Understanding? If you look into the past, nothing but if you are looking into the past 3-4 days of climate information in your mind, right? Your mind has seen the weather. So accordingly, your mind has seen the weather means it has collected the data. That means your mind was able to understand what happened in the past. Accordingly, you are able to guess about the future, right? You're actually doing analysis every day, whether you are a literate or illiterate. Every person is doing analysis without knowing that they are doing analysis. In every walk of their life, they do it. Guessing is a portion of analysis. Okay, then where is the data? In your mind. Your mind itself, holds a huge volume of data, right? If not your minds, where do you see the data in the world? Okay, let's talk about the data for a while. Then I'll move into, again, some key points about, what does data scientist do. So understanding data is very important. Then I'll move with, some other important, key items. Yeah. So if not in your brain, where do you see in the data, sir? Where do you store the data, if not on your brain?
By gathering.
Where do you store the data? Of course, you gather it. Can you store the data on the paper?
Yes, no, sir.
Right?
No,
Yeah. For example, if you go to the shop, right?
Cloud.
Yeah. If you go to the shop, yes, sir. Yeah, I'll go there in the cloud data systems, but very basic system before the computers. So before the computer era, were the people collecting the data and storing the data? Before computer era, nothing but before computers were there, some 50 years ago, was they collecting the data? The world was collecting the data or not? Right? So your parents and forefathers, they were collecting the data, right? So where were they storing it? On the papers. Okay. So what kind of data they were collecting? About their village. So who holds which portion of land? Right? That is the data. For example, revenue system. Right? Before the computers were there in the Indian, governance. So, that account, that owner was there, right? Where it was maintained? On the papers. Yes, sir. So the data was there. Revenue system data of land who owns by whom, right? That is the revenue data. And which house is owned by whom? Who is the owner of the house, right? That information is there. Property ownership. That the data was there and the records, right? The records were on the paper, right? So you can have the data on the paper, but what is the problem if you have data on the paper?
it may tear in some way.
Yeah. So it can't be. Yeah. So there is a chance that it will get damaged, right? We don't have all the papers of last 100 years. They have been somehow they have been tampered or they have gone away in the somewhere in the because of some reasons they have been somehow damaged, right? Papers, they can be burnt, they can be torn, and they can lose their quality. That means you'll not be able to read what was written in the paper, right? As the time goes, the paper quality and the writing, the ink quality will go away and you will lose the information, right? The records information you will lose. So that's where what happened. So we right these days, right, we are not storing the data on the paper at all. So these days we are storing the data completely on the computer systems, right? So system where, of course, hard drives, right? Hard drives. And if you say cloud, in the cloud also, it is again hard drives only at the very bottom, right? Anyway, so data you are collecting and you are storing it on the paper in the early days, but these days we are storing the data on the digital systems, right? Yeah, go on, sir. Go on, ma'am. What is it?
Memories, you can store in memory.
So memory are two types, right? In the computer terminology. So yeah,
Yes,
so
sir,
what is
RAM
the
and ROM.
RAM is the temporary memory, right? And ROM, nothing but you can say drive, disk.
Yes,
So
sir.
these are the permanent memory. I am talking about this. We call this as a storage. Okay. So memory nothing but RAM. This is the temporary memory, and permanent memory is the storage, nothing but the disk. Okay. So we usually store the data in the storage only, not on the RAM. Why we don't store data on the RAM?
It is temporary memory, sir. It's maybe
yeah, temporary means whenever you switch off your system, then your data is gone, right?
Yes.
Your data,
Yes,
you can't,
sir.
yeah, then you can't recover the data and you can't store much data here. So when you say memory means, you have to take that as storage. Anyway, so that's how what happens. You collect the data. You means, governments and business system, they collect the data, and they store the data. So when you store the data, what can you do? You can apply analysis over the data. Okay, by applying analysis over the data, what can you do, sir? You can do these things. You can get to know what happened. Okay, when you have the data with you, what can you say? What happened? And what is happening right now? And what will happen? These three questions you can answer when you have the data with you. Okay, let me give you a very simple example here. So your shopkeeper, right? If you go to supermarket somewhere or any other shop there, give the bills there, right? Yeah. People assume I am owning a ice cream shop. Okay, and I started my ice cream 1 year ago in the Kadapa example. Okay, so then what happened? Can I have the data of my customers for last 1 year?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Yeah, if I am giving the bills, right, in the computer bills, if I am giving the computer bills, I have all the information of purchase information of my customers, right? Yeah. So that means I'm
Yes, sir.
collecting the data there, right? I'm collecting the data there. So if I look back into the data, what do you think? What are the what is the information I could have collected? Nothing but what is the data I've collected from the every bill, and how it will help us in the when you apply the analytics there. Let's try to solve this very simple use case in the very short time. Then that is where you understand the questions of all the questions I have given in the agenda. Okay, very simple example. With this example, you understand plenty of important things that are required for your data science career. Okay, ice cream shop. So when you say ice cream shop, what is the data we're collecting? Okay, on the bill, right? On the every bill, what is the information you will have?
Item sold, price.
Items sold,
Date.
flavors, which
First, right, right. Now, let's go one by one. Date is one thing, right? Is it very important? Date,
Yes, sir.
right? Yeah, date is very important. On
Yes,
what
sir.
date
so that we can track
yeah,
our
exactly. On what date what has been purchased, information should be there. Then what will be there? Item name,
which flavor
right?
is
Yeah,
sold
flavor,
more.
right? Flavor information will be there. I mean, on one, I don't know, on one bill, right? I'm talking about, yes, number of items, right? And sometimes if the customer is, if customer is friendly, you can ask for the mobile number as well, right? You can have the customer information as well, mobile number. It is personal, but some customers, favor to give this information, because you may tell that if you give us your mobile number, we'll give you discounts in the future. We'll let you know, we'll message you some discounts so that you can, come and you can enjoy our flavors, right? You can, by telling that information, you get the mobile number as well of the customer, right? So having this information with you of 10,000 customers in the last 1 year, right? You have the 10,000 customers information of these items. I mean, whatever the components that you see here, date of the purchase, items they have bought, flavors bought, number of items they have bought, right? This information you have for 10,000 customers, right? So now by looking at this 10,000 customers last 1 year data, what kind of questions you can answer? What happened? From the last 1 year data, you can answer this question, what happened, right? So here, what kind of questions you can ask, sir? Just now somebody was telling, I interrupted, now we can continue, sir. So, some ma'am was talking, yeah.
We can say the profit or loss, and which ice cream flavor is being
Yeah, so which is the, right, you can get to know which is the popular flavor in your ice cream shop,
yes, exactly.
right? Which is the popular, or which is
Yes.
the
Most sold.
most favored or most sold. Maybe
Yes.
not most sold, because not popular item, of course, popular item means most sold only in this case, but it is not
Yes.
necessarily in other cases. Okay, so which is the popular ice cream? Nothing but
We
most
can
sold.
you can also detect. You can also see that how profit we got in the ice cream.
Okay, you can understand, your balance sheet, right? And
Yes.
where do we have the profit and where do we have the loss, right? Maybe you have prepared some X flavored ice cream. The stock is not getting sold so frequently, right? So if you make the ice cream today, so it is being in the stock for next 10 days, right? But other ice cream, if you prepare it today, within the one day it is getting sold. Okay, that means you can understand that, okay, this X is something I have to focus on. Either I have to drop this from my menu, or if I keep it, I have to prepare this in a less quantity. Understanding you will have by looking into last 1 year data or last couple of months data, right? Yeah, profit and loss is one key information you will get. And what is the other information you'll get? Right? No need to tell me now. Just have a thought over this. In this simple use, have a thought and see what benefits you can give from analyzing this data to the business, right? Business means yourself. So for yourself, how do you use this data to make your ice cream shop better, so that you can have more number of customers, so that you can sell you can sell more number of flavors. That means you can make more business. That means you can make your customer happy, right? So simple ice cream shop example, whatever you have seen here, is applicable for every big there. Every big industry is collecting the data like this. They're trying to answer the questions like this, right? Yeah. So whatever the questions you have asked here, whatever the question posed here, they belong to this thing. What happened in the past, right? You are trying to answer those questions. If you want to answer these questions, you should know analysis, right? Analysis means you should know statistics, very basic statistics. We call that as the descriptive statistics. Nothing but simple average, we call it, right? What is the average? You should know what is the dispersion in the data. What is the meaning of variance in the data? What is the meaning of standard deviation in the data? Some very simple stuff you have to learn here. Descriptive statistics is the very, very key thing. It is very simple technique, but very key technique. This is, it will give you a lot of information about your data without applying any advanced techniques. With simple statistics, you can get to know a lot of information about your data. Okay, simply you can see what happened in the past. Also, you can get to know what is happening in the right now, at the moment. Also, it can be answered by descriptive statistics. Okay. So as a data scientist, right, what I do every day as an analyst, for example, or nothing but as a data scientist, I apply descriptive statistics to understand my data, to answer the questions, key questions like this, given by the business. Okay? Yeah, that is something I'll do, right? If I'm a data scientist, nothing but if I'm an analyst, okay, or if I'm not applying any advanced analytics, that is what I do. Okay, then let's see what will happen. Okay, right? So from this historical data, right? So you said, for these questions you can get the answers, right? And give me a question regarding future. What is the problem regarding future you can solve from this data? So I'll tell you an example here. So how many number of customers visit on next Sunday to my store? Can I answer this question?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So not only past questions can be answered, even these future questions also can be answered. Okay. So how do you get the answer for this question? So past questions can be easily answered, sir, because it is there in the data. By applying simple, nothing more to be doing there, right? By applying simple SQL, structured query language, you can gain good answers for this past questions. But for this question, this is very important thing. This is what you will do in many of cases in the in your data science profession. Yeah, go on, sir. Somebody was trying to tell something. Go on.
Based on past data, like we analyze the data and we can predict what, like based on the past Sundays, we analyze the data. Based on that, we can predict. So that is not the exact case, but probability of the chances we can predict.
Exactly. You are making a guess, right? So how many number of customers visit on the next means it is a future. It not happened yet. So you are trying to, guess the future, right? Predict the future. So to predict, you should know some techniques as the analyst, right? So what are those techniques? So they are called as, in the machine learning, they are called as the supervised learning techniques in the machine learning. Okay. And of course, in the traditional statistics also, the same word you will see. And there is little difference between the statistics and ML, but mostly they are same. Okay, in majority of they are same. They share many commonalities, but at the same time they are a little bit different. Statistics and machine learning. Anyway, so when you know the techniques of supervised learning, right? That's where you can answer these kind of questions. How many number of customers visit on the next Sunday to my store, and how much profit I am going to get on the next week, or which flavor I have to produce in the large quantity for next Sunday. Is it important for you? I mean, how much quantity of ice cream I have to generate, I have to produce for the next week? Is it important to you? Yes, it is important. Question. It is important to answer a question you can have for yourself, right? For your business, because if you know this, if you know answer for this question, you are cutting down the loss costs, right? For example, if you have prepared 10 kg ice cream, and if you are if only there happens 2 kg sale on the next Sunday, then what will happen? 8 kg loss will be there, right, in terms of cost. So that means you can exactly means just 1 kg plus or minus, you'll be able to exactly guess so how much of quantity of ice cream you have to produce for next Sunday. It can be answered with the past data set, trust me. So data is the latest fuel that is running the world, not the petrol, not the diesel, or not electricity, I should say, right? More than that, the data is being the main fuel to run the world business. In the corona example I said you, right? So once examination and then accordingly identify the corona, there also this prediction system is applicable. Supervised learning is applicable there. From this simple question regarding your ice cream, right? So if you want to make answers, you have to rely on the supervised learning. Not only for this, even to answer the question, that by looking at the X-ray of your picture, the computer will be able to understand whether your lungs are affected by the corona. Accordingly, you'll be tested positive or negative, right? Yeah, supervised learning is very key item. If you want to become a data scientist, you must focus on this. You should master it. Okay, from here let's proceed into exact some key important items. Okay, so as a data scientist, right, you will perform analytics and you will perform data scientist. Means he or she must do these two things: must be able to do basic analysis, must be able to perform the image recognition. Okay, like building chatbots like that. Okay, these both the items the data scientist must be good with. But still, I say, being a beginner, right, in the industry, it is okay if you master this analytics, or if you just only focus on this, right? As per your interest, as per your ability, you can choose either of these or both of these, or just only focus on one item, right? Okay. Now let me proceed with the the difference between analytics and machine learning, deep learning, and AI and data science. Okay, how these words are interconnected. Actually, if you are a data scientist, what will you do, right? That answer I'll give you within 2 minutes of my talk. Before I deliver the key information, let me take a pause now, and let me take if you have any questions. By the way, so yeah, go on, sir. Go on, ma'am.
Can data scientists work with spatial data, sir? GIS.
Right. Yeah. So this is where you need both again. You need the analytics I have specified in my slides, and even you need advanced analytics. Both you need. Okay. That means if you want to become the geospatial analyst, right, you must be good at these two things. Not only for geospatial analytics, for anything. So the blend of these two are very important. And these days, right, some people just give less attention to this and more attention to this. It is okay, not a problem, but something you have to start with, right? Yes, ma'am. So for the geospatial analysis, this is very much applied, machine learning and deep learning, than this very basic analysis. Okay, that is the image data. Image data means high volume of data. High volume data means you have to use the deep learning. Okay, I'll also try to let you know when to use what, when to use statistical analysis,
Okay, sir.
when to use ML, when to use DL, and what is the relation between all these keywords that you see. I'll tell that. I'll explain that. Then we'll be opening for a final question and answer session, and later we can close the session. Satya Garu, what is the session time? I think I'm crossing the.
No, sir. Session till you can go to the 11:30.
Okay, so that means I can continue now.
Yeah,
There is no break. Okay, sir. Okay. Buddies, yeah, go on. You can go on with some of your questions. I'll try to answer them. Then I can go ahead with rest of my topics to discuss. Let me take a pause for 1 minute. If you don't, again, if you don't have any questions after 1 minute, automatically I'll go ahead to speak. I'm taking pause now. You can pose questions. Okay.
The participants, please ask.
Yeah.
Do you have any questions?
Okay, that's fine. Let me continue. Probably after finish, this particular next 10-minute session, right? The people may get many questions. Then we can proceed. You can mute, sir. You can proceed. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Fine. So this is very important topic for you guys. Because as a data scientist, right, you wish to know in the last couple of minutes, right, you understood, the intuition of the data science, right? What kind of problems you can solve, and roughly what should you know, right? And where can we apply this data science, right? So very high level you understood. But now I wanted to give you some, a key, talk on these, buzzwords, right? So now you tell me from your side. For example, if anybody wants to answer, so data science means what? Is it analytics? Is it just ML and DL? Or data science means AI? Or data science means everything? Yeah. So any of you want to answer this? Data science means what of these components can be called as data science that you see here? Analytics, ML, DL, AI. Right? So, right, data science, nothing but all, right? It is analytics, it is ML, it is
Combination
DL.
of all.
Yeah, it is combination of all, AI. So all these are the data science. So then the question comes, is there any difference between all these? When I say, analytics, ML, DL, AI. So is there any difference between them? Not much. So only there is a difference between statistics and rest of. Okay. So let me, yeah, tell me.
AI is the subset of ML is the subset of AIs.
Yeah, correct, right. So let me have that clear distinction here. So when you say, this is the data science. Okay, so this is the data science boundary. If you say, so in this boundary, you have analytics. Okay, the industry usually refers the analytics as the statistical analysis. Okay, majority of the industry, not all the companies may mean the same thing, but majority of the organizations out there understand the analytics means statistical analysis. Okay, so statistical analysis means do you have to be graduate of statistics? No. Very, very basic statistics that you have come across in your engineering itself will help more than enough. Okay, so but yes, so analytics is the part of data science profession. Okay, that means if you are a data scientist, then you should be able to work with the very simple statistical tools. Okay, then so you have something here called as the ML. Okay, then you have here something called as the DL. Okay, and I should say this boundary is applicable for AI as well. Okay, AI is nothing but, so a data scientist usually works with the AI. They deliver the AI solutions. So that is what right now the current market is telling. But actually there is a distinction, but I don't want to make it. So you guys can understand that data scientists actually deliver the AI solutions. You can understand in that way. Okay, AI solutions nothing but they do the analysis. So they do the analysis means they perform analytics, and they perform ML, they perform DL. So now the connection is that if you are good with analytics, right, you can be pretty good with ML. If you are good with ML, right, you can be super good with DL. That is where your career is. Okay, simple, sir. If you are good with analytics, right, nothing but basic statistics, if you are good with, then you can be pretty good with ML, machine learning. So machine learning, statistical analysis is the foundation for the ML. Okay, this is the right way to proceed. So in the training institutes in the Hyderabad or somewhere, right, in the world, from the very famous, or reputed institutes out there. So usually, they may say that, analysis can be an optional topic, nothing but statistical analysis may be an optional topic. Directly you can go with ML, right? They may say, or they may say directly you can go with DL, deep learning, right? But I stress on this component a lot. It is very, very important. Statistical analysis concepts must be known. Okay, because not every problem out there needs the deep learning. For example, we have seen here a simple, ice cream shop prediction, problem here, right? What is the quantity of ice cream I should prepare for next Sunday, right? For this question, you don't need this deep learning, sir, right? You don't need this, highly advanced technique. It is not required. So ML is, of course, if you have huge amount of data, is required, right? Otherwise, statistical analysis is best. So one more key point I want to make. So when you have small data, small amount of data, small amount means you have, some thousands of records. Small data, I should say. So a small volume of structured data, unstructured data. There we have again two terms, right? So something, if it is in the paragraphs, right, or if it is in the image, that can be called as the unstructured data. Our sound is also unstructured data, right, in the raw form, but it can be converted into the structured data. Unstructured data can be converted into data. Usually we work with the structured data only. Structure means the data which is stored in the tables can be called as the structured data. Okay, in the Excel sheets, like Excel sheets. Okay. Anyway, so when you have small volume of data, you have to apply these statistical analysis techniques, and that is where these concepts are very important. Not always you are going to work with high volume data. Not always. Right? As a data scientist, you must be able to deliver solution over any amount of data, whether it is small or large. When you have small data, the tools are different. When you have high volume data, the tools are different to do the same activity. Got it? If you want to make prediction can be done using statistical analysis, can be done using ML, can be done using DL. You should know when to use what. Right? For example, if you want to kill the fly, right? There are flies and mosquitoes. If you want to kill them, which weapon you use? You never use a AK-47, right? To kill the fly, to kill the mosquito, because that is not the right tool for it. It is like a deep learning. Okay, if you are killing a fly with AK-47, that is deep learning, which is inappropriate to use there. Okay, so you should know when to use what tool. That is what I'm trying to let you know. When you have very small volume of data and whatever the business questions that you have, it can be answered using the very basic statistical analysis. Okay, so ML over the small and medium data, medium volume data. Okay, that is where you have to use the ML, and deep learning over the high volume data. But it is not necessary in the current, in the current modern algorithms. There are very modern algorithms. They can even work better on the small amount of data. Okay, so this was the case a couple of years ago. This is the division: small, medium, and high volume data. Accordingly, you can use these techniques, right? That was the standard, and still the industry uses. But going forward, in the very few a couple of months or years, right, this line may go up. That means everywhere you can use DL. In plenty of the cases, not everywhere. In plenty of cases, you can use DL irrespective of the data volume. Okay, fine. So if you want to become the data scientist, first you must have to focus on these things. Okay, you should know this statistical analysis, but don't spend too much time. You can directly go to the ML without spending time on statistical analysis. Okay, but if you are preparing for interview, better be ready with statistical analysis. Okay, but to learn or understand the ML, right, directly you can start with ML. Okay, so and later you can go between back and forth between these three things, but this is the order, best order. First statistical analysis, then ML, then deep learning. Okay, so ML means what is something you have to learn here. There are supervised learning techniques and unsupervised learning techniques. Okay, so these are something two key components. These two items, if you learn, then you can become expert in the ML. And deep learning is also these same key components only to learn something called as the neural networks. Okay, that's all. So completely this deep learning revolve around the neural networks algorithm. This is something you must have to focus on if you want to shine in the deep learning applications. Okay, not theory in the application wise. Theory is okay, you can read in the books, but it is not important to apply. It is okay to know, but it's not mandatory that much. So application is something the industry is looking for a lot. That means having the very fundamental idea of neural network, not expertise level, having very fundamental of neural networks, but having the focus on APIs of the neural networks. Then you can do plenty of DL applications. Okay, for example, NLP application, chatbot, or image recognition, right? Those things you can do with the deep learning with the existing APIs, nothing but the existing software. Okay, anyway, so as a data scientist, I use statistical analysis to answer the questions when I have small amount of data, right? I use ML to answer the questions that is given by business based on if I have the medium volume of or small volume of data. And deep learning, I'll go with when I have very huge volume of data and when there is a complex problem to solve. Okay, this is a very high level, bird eye, view level, understanding of what does the data scientist do, in his day-to-day work, right? That is still I have to answer, but at the very high level, I'll say it, this is the way you can learn so that you can become a data scientist, right? Okay. So as a data scientist, what do you do every day? Okay, if you tell me you use Python, especially you use Pandas and NumPy library, okay, to clean up the data. Right. Next thing, what I want to say. So if you want to become data scientist, what to do? I said you the order, right? First, you have to learn the little bit of statistics. Then you can go with ML. Then go with DL. But this order not follow. Okay. To have your hands dirty with this data science, you can pick up anything and you can try something, right? Unless you try something, you can't get to know. So, but as you gain some maturity, right, by working on any of this component initially, then you understand that the need of this order. Okay, this order is something, the guidance, but not necessarily you follow this order. But at certain point of time, definitely you realize this order and you will follow it. Okay, when you gain some maturity. Okay, fine. But after that, so if you actually be a data science practitioner, then you must be good with Python programming language, with Pandas library and NumPy library. So we use this majorly to clean up the data. Okay, so this is what every project where the data science spends this much of time. So if there is a project, right, data science project, then out of 100 days, right, 70 days you only reserve for data cleanup activities. Then rest of the 30% will go with model building activity and analysis and delivery. Okay, So 70 to 80%, I should say, will go for data cleanup. Only 20 to 30% actually you spend time with these things, ML and DL and analysis. Right? Okay. Otherwise, 70% of the time will go with just only basic analysis and pandas. Python pandas. Pandas is very, very, of course, these both are very, very important libraries for every data scientist in the current market. And it will continue for at least next 5 to 10 years. Python will rule. Okay, there is programming language called Julia, and some other programming languages are coming up to the industry, but still, Python rules the world for at least next couple of years, maybe 5 to 10 years for sure. Okay, so let me take a pause here, and let me answer if you have any questions.
Sir, in machine learning, what is meant by supervised and unsupervised? Can you give an example for that, sir?
Sure. I'll take that as the next item to discuss after this question AQA session. Fine, I'll answer it. Yeah.
Okay.
So is it making sense to you? Almost I talked for maybe 1.5 hours, I think so. So is it helping you in any way?
Yes, sir.
It's more helpful.
Okay, fine. Maybe for few people or for more people, I think it is in the right direction, right? I mean, whatever the expectation you had, maybe I'm, helping in that way. Okay, I'm happy to know that. Thanks. Fine. So maybe I can take 1 or 2 more questions, then I can proceed. Okay, sir, no questions? Fine, let me proceed with these things. Supervised learning and unsupervised learning. Right, yeah. There is a question. Yes, that is most relevant for this discussion. So if you want to predict, right, if you want to guess the future, then that problem, supervised learning problem. Okay, so you are solving a prediction problem means that is supervised learning problem. Okay, the next thing is that unsupervised learning. So here we can solve plenty of variety of problems using unsupervised. Here you never predict. That's all. So it is not a prediction problem. It looks like prediction problem, but not. So you never predict. Instead, you group the data points. Okay, you group the data points based on some similarity. I'll explain this in the simple words in a while, but let me put you in the right jargon. So you group the data points based on some similarity. Okay, so that was this unsupervised learning too. So this needs little really good amount of discussion, but its application in the deep learning is very huge than the basic analysis. Okay, so in the basic analysis, this is something very useful, supervised learning. So unsupervised learning looks little unclear here, but if we discuss 1 or 2 examples, you will understand very clear distinction between these two. Okay, fine. So I'll tell you one problem now. You should be able to tell me whether that is a supervised learning problem or unsupervised learning problem. Okay, example is, for example, I'm a banker. Okay, assume I am, for example, HDFC Bank. Okay, you have applied for a loan. Which loan? Some car loan. Okay, you have applied for a car loan in my bank. Now I should decide whether I have to approve your request or not. Okay, I want to either have to approve or reject your request, right? So for that, what kind of solution you have to apply? Simply, what kind of problem it is, supervised or unsupervised learning problem? Let me write that here. So you want to approve or reject the loan application. Okay, you are approved means you will be given the loan. Okay, reject means you won't be given the loan. Right. So this is one kind of problem. Other problem is that I want to get to know whether you will be a default customer or non-default customer. Any idea what is the meaning of default customer, non-default customer, sir?
No, sir.
Okay, I'll tell you. Okay, so default customer means he never pay. He takes the loan, but they never pay back. They are called as the default customers. They never pay back. They take the loan, that's all. They never pay back. And non-default means they'll pay back. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So actually, before I solve this, question, right? I mean, whether approve the loan or loan. So it depends actually on this problem, right? So whether he is going to be a default customer, right? If I answer this question, then I'm answering this question. That's all, right? Yeah, I'm posing this first question in the different way. These both are same. Okay, fine, sir. So usually, to whom I'll give the loan for default customer, non-default customer,
Non-default customer.
right? Yeah, that's what, right? I look for the people who can pay back me if I give the loan, right? If they never, I can't give. But actually, do the bank get to know before the hand that whether you can pay or you can't pay? Can they get to know? Yes. Okay. So usually what happens, sir, as I said, banks, you are as a ice cream shop owner, you have collected the 10,000 customers of data in the last 1 year. So these are the banks. They have huge amount of money for their infrastructure, right? And they have millions of customers. So then they have millions of data points, right? So they have large customer data, large amount of customer data with many aspects, right? So a large amount of customer data is there. Okay. So for example, I should say which customer data I need to solve this car loan problem. What kind of data I need from the bank, sir? I need past car loan history. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. In the last 1 or 2 years, maybe in the last 5 years. So whoever the people have taken the car loan, so take all that customer car loan applicants data, okay, and nothing but car loan customers data, and see their history. Okay, you have here certain x's, x1, x2, x3, so x4, and so on, xn, and then you have y here. Y, yeah. One more important thing, sir. I am talking about x's and y's here, right? What are these x's and y's? Okay, in the statistical jargon, right? So these x's are called as independent variables. I am actually going into the subject, which is not the scope of this talk, but it is okay. So independent variables, we call it. Actually, supervised learning data, right? It needs x and y both, and unsupervised learning needs just only x. There is no y. That is the main difference in terms of technical, jargon. Okay, these very simple distinctions, sir, between the supervised learning and unsupervised learning. In the supervised learning, you need both x and y, and in the unsupervised learning, only x is required. Even though you have y, you never use it. It is not required. Okay, so what is the meaning x and y? Means using x's, you are predicting y. Okay, for example, how can I get to know whether a customer will give a loan or not? Right. So for that, we have to rely on these independent variables. I'll get to know in a while. Then y is called as the dependent variable. Okay, usually what will happen in the supervised learning problems, you look into the independent variables and you predict y. As I said in the first example, weather forecasting. So if you are the person has to predict on tomorrow, a climate condition, whether it will rain or not. So what are the x's you have to see? Y is what in that problem? Y is whether it will rain on tomorrow or not. That is the y, independent variable. Dependent variable. So what are the independent variables there? What was the I'll tell you. So on the day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, so on. So X1 means what was the humidity on the day 1. Okay. So humidity was some 25 units. In the day 2, it was 18 units. On the day 3, it was 7 units. On the day 4, it was 50 units. Okay. That is humidity. And in the climate, right, what are the other things can be there? What was the carbon dioxide level? Maybe that will affect the next day climate system, right? What was the carbon dioxide component on the day 1, day 3, day 4? Like that, the data you will structure it. Okay, data means you will have these kinds of only, right? Typical data, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, like that. So across different parameters, humidity and CO2 level in the air. And all the sensors, actually weather forecasting system will have the sensors. Those sensors will actually measure these components. What is the carbon dioxide level in the air? What is the humidity in the air? And what is the what are the items that you feel that will affect the next day rain condition? So all those items can be called as the excess. All those parameters can be called as the excess in simple terms. So all of those items data you will take here, and using this data you will predict Y. So what is the Y here? Okay, on the day 1, given these parameters, so it was not raining. Okay, there was no rain. On the day 2, given these conditions, it was no rain. On the day 3, given these conditions, it was no rain. On the day 5, on the day 4 also no rain. So now if I give you on the day 5 values, right, then you can predict whether it will rain or not. Okay, by looking into this past 4 days data, by understanding a pattern here, you will even be able to understand a pattern here. Based on that, you can guess whether it will happen, it will rain on tomorrow or not. Okay, so fine. So in the supervised learning problem, you will have X and Y's. Using X's, you can predict Y. Okay, maybe before I'll get into this default or default customer, let me tell the simple example here. So your salary is Y. If you want to predict the salary of an employee, right? If you want to predict the salary of an employee, what do you need?
Experience.
Yeah, years of experience. That is called as X1.
Sector in which he is working.
Current company. Is that what you're telling, sir?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Current organization. Okay, that is X2. Current organization name. Third, what do you need? Qualification. Education qualification. Is it required?
Yes,
Right?
sir.
Education qualification X3. And what more required? Age is required. X4. Marital status is required. X5. Okay. So marital status also somehow will affect the salary. You don't know it, but
Yes, sir.
yeah, it will happen. Okay. Industry, HRs have their own strategies, right? They have their own buckets for different kind of people. Okay. So now, for example, let me take a simple, usually you can have multiple parameters, right? For every person. Okay. So, but what I'll do, I'll give, this exercise to you. After the session, you can work on this on your own. But to make it, our example simple, I want to predict the salary on just only, some 10 people, 5 people data, P1, P2, P3, P4, and P5. 5 people data I have collected here. What I have collected? I have collected the experience, years of experience data, and corresponding salary I have collected. Just assume. Okay, this is X1 and this is Y. Sorry. So I have to write this Y up there. It is 11:12. Probably in the next few minutes, I'll be closing the session after this example. Okay. So X1 and Y. So X1 means what? I have collected the 5 people data randomly. Okay, by standing in the Hyderabad, somewhere in the high-tech city area. So person 1 said his experience is say 6 years. His salary is 10 lakhs per annum. So person 2 said his experience is 5 years. He said salary is 12 lakhs. So experience was say 7 years. Okay, and the salary was around say 14 lakhs. Okay, experience was 8 years, maybe 3 years, and salary was around let me say it is 7 lakhs. Okay, now P5, the experience was say 5 years, and the experience was salary was 1 lakhs. So by looking at this data, Okay, so can you guess the salary for this new guy? Okay, there is a new guy. His or her experience is 4 years. What will be the salary? Can you guess? This is what called as
Maybe
the,
10.
yeah, I'll take the answer. And this is called as a supervised learning problem. Okay, where what you're doing, based on the X, you are predicting Y. Not necessarily you can only take one X into consideration. You can take multiple X's into consideration. Accordingly, you can predict Y. Okay, so to predict something, right, what do you need? Historical data. Do you have here historical data of 5 persons? Yes. So for supervised learning problems or unsupervised learning problems, whatever, you need historical data. So by looking into this past data, you can predict the future, right? Yeah, just now our B said, what is the answer, ma'am? You said here?
10 lakhs.
Okay, so our buddy said 10 lakhs. And any other person want to guess something? Yeah. Okay, other person says 8 lakhs. And the other person says?
9 lakhs.
9 lakhs, yeah. Like that, if I ask you, right, you'll be able to tell your own answers. So these answers depend on this historical data and your own brain, right? So one brain said 10 lakhs. Other brain said 8 lakhs. Other brain said 9 lakhs. How did they come up with these different answers? Because they understood, yeah, because they have understood this historical data in their own way. That is correct. Every machine learning algorithm there will give its own answer, like the way the human brains understood the data in a different way. They have given different answers. The same way they'll give. But nobody has answered me 90 lakhs. Ready with answer? Or at least you could dare to answer 90 lakhs for this, this guy, 4 years guy.
No, sir.
Right? And do you guess his salary will be 2 lakhs? Will you be able to say? No, right? You are not giving any extreme answers, right? You are giving the relevant answer. 10 lakhs is a relevant answer here. 8 lakhs is a relevant answer here. 9 lakhs also relevant answer here. Right, sir? But not 2 lakhs, but not 90 lakhs. The same thing, if you feed this data to the machine learning algorithm, supervised machine learning algorithm, like linear regression, okay, or like SVM, support vector machine, or like random forest algorithm. So any of these machine learning algorithms, if you supply this data, if you train these algorithms over this data, and later if you ask the algorithm to make prediction, they also predict in the way you have done, not in the way these extreme answers, right? That means these algorithms are able to understand the pattern from this data in the same way the human brain has done. Okay, I can show this proof already. Usually I conduct the trainings, okay, to the people. I'll give these demos, practically with the Python programming language and with the scikit-learn machine learning library. I'll do this, but here I did not plan for any demonstration. Probably, if you're interested, I keep continuing the sessions with the help of your HOD for the free of cost in the future. At that time, I can give you these demonstrations. Okay. For now, yeah. So this is what supervised learning means. So you are able to predict Y based on the X's. Okay. So in fact, right, it is called as the regression problem. Within the supervised, you have two kind of problems you can solve. One is regression, other one is classification. Okay, this is the regression problem you are trying to solve here. Okay, that's all. So supervised learning means you have the data with labels. Y is called as the label column. Okay, predicting the label based on the X's. Okay, by looking into the historical data. And the question comes, out of these 10 and 8 and 9 lakhs, which is the right answer? Can you tell me which is the right answer here? No, there is no right answer, right? But there is a mechanism to measure the accuracy here. That is the subject of machine learning. I'm not going into details, but that is the actual subject. You can measure out of these 10 lakhs and 8 lakhs and 9 lakhs, which is the actual, which is the close to actual, that you can measure. So your prediction, you can measure with some good confidence level. Okay, that is subject. It will be so interesting if you are really want to be in this industry and you are in sync with what I'm talking. So it will make a lot of interesting idea in your mind. It will help you a lot. Okay, this thinking process. Anyway, that will all go into technical training. But now I am giving you an idea of what is the supervised learning. And by having this understanding, right, let's come back to this particular default and non-default. So if you want to predict this, right, you have to relay customer data. What I said, X1, X2, X3, and so on. Then you have to have a Y here. And by looking at this X and Y, you can say that your loan application is accepted or rejected. Okay, I'm not framing the data here for this problem, and I'm not explaining much here. I'm just throwing a problem to you. You can work on this problem, and you can see how can you predict that a customer will actually pay back or never pay back. Accordingly, we can take the decision. I mean, banker will take the decision, which is a supervised learning problem. Unsupervised, again, its applications are a little advanced, for your current knowledge. That's why I may not confuse you, giving some examples here. Let me limit, for the supervised learning only. In the future, slowly I'll let you know, about these things, or your faculty will let you know about these things. Okay. Let me take a pause here, and if you have any questions, let me answer. Yeah, any questions, sir?
The participants, do you have any queries to ask?
Fine. So I can say, so still I have some time, sir, to talk, or can we take some time for QA completely for next 10 to 15 minutes and then close the session? What do you say, sir? Organizers, I'm just posing this question.
Sir, if you want to go ahead, you can go ahead. I think the participants are also eager to know more things from you.
Okay,
So,
that is really good. If they are not boring, and
yeah, I hope so. Why? Because it is very interactive section.
Okay.
So I hope so. The participants are also eagerly looking at this section.
Okay, okay, sir.
So, any queries from the participants? If you have any problem, if we continue this section a little bit.
Fine. Let me talk for a while. Then we can have a larger Q&A session. That later we can have an N5 session. I think at least let me come back. I think I have answered this first question, right? The key buzzwords: data science, analytics, and AI, ML, and DL. In the very brief note, I think answered this thing. Then what does a data science professional do? As I said, he will or she will use Python every day and use the descriptive statistics every day, okay, to solve variety of problems, and even deep learning techniques, right? They use every day. The application majorly Python as a programming language. They use Python. Use the Python to apply the statistics concepts and very basic statistics concepts and very basic SQL concepts and very basic ML concepts they use. Okay. And the applications of analytics. This is something we have started with, right? Our discussion. We have seen examples for deep learning. Machine learning, just now we have seen an example. Analytics also we have seen an example with the ice cream shop use case, right? Then we have analytics professional career. This is something I have to already have talked, but I'll spend some time here. Then we can have a QA, right? Okay, let me proceed quickly through the slides. This is something we already noted. So applications of machine learning. In all these places we can apply. No need to again discuss more this here. Yeah, this is something important, right? Yeah. Usually this is the step of activities, right? You work on whenever you carry to deliver a machine learning project. Okay. What happens? You collect the data, right? You means organizations collect the data. They store the data in the databases and cloud somewhere, as our buddy said. So you have plenty of options to store the data. So data collect and data storage will be done by the data engineers. Okay, in the market we have two kind of people within the data science. One is data engineer and other one is data scientist. So data engineer role is to collect the data and store the data. Okay, that means they must be good with SQL and databases because that is what they do every day. They collect the data, they store the data, they manage the data. Data governance, they'll take care. Data engineers. In the current market, the people who knows the Hadoop, big data, right? Hadoop and Spark. So those are the guys are holding the large amount responsibility of storing and collecting and storing the large amount of data in the current market needs. They're filling up the gap. Data engineers. Okay, sir. So fine. That is where data scientist is not involved. So there is a clear distinction. Data collection, data storage is done by the data engineers. Okay. Then once the data is there, that is where data science that there is the need of data scientist. If there is no data, there is no need of data scientist. As I said, So if there is a data, so there is data scientist involvement is required to generate the value out of the data. Okay. So can I take one example that I do in my current organization? So yeah, I'll take my example, right? What I do. So I work for the pharma company, called as the, let me name it. Okay, not a problem. I work for example, Dr. Reddy's. Okay, pharma company. So there, what happens? I work on the pharma data. I'm from the pharma background. I'm completely from the non-pharma background, non-medicine at all. I'm from the basic MPC, mathematics and physics chemistry, in my graduation and intermediate. Then I did my MSIT in IIIT Hyderabad. That is where IT, I have been into, and later I have been into the IT sector only, right? But I'm working for the pharma right now. That is the beauty here. A data scientist can work in any field. So one of my friend works in the aeronautical. He is from the, aeronautical means as data scientist. He works for the, SpiceJet, I think. Right? He works on the, plane data, right? Aeroplane data. What they do, they're data scientists in the plane data. Very interesting problems there, right? I never worry about that. I'll tell you about my example. So as a data scientist, right? As a being in the pharma industry, my responsibility is to help them, okay, to optimize their production quantity. Okay, so to put in simple words, what happens, right? The problem I have given and how did I solve? With this flow, I try to explain that you see on the screen. So I have been pointed out that I have been given the problem. First of all, what is the problem? I am pushing 10 kg of raw material, tablet raw material, into the my equipment, and I'm expecting 20 million tablets out of it. Okay, but it is giving me only 15 million of tablets. Okay, what is the problem? I think you are able to understand, right? I am inputting 10 kg raw material, nothing but tablet raw material. I'm giving into the equipment. The equipment will prepare the tablet and it will spit out the tablets. So how many tablets I'm expecting from it? 20 lakhs tablets. But what is happening in the reality? 15 lakhs only are getting produced. That means there is a loss of 5 lakhs tablets. That means some of my raw material invested in the equipment, in the production process, right? So the same example, if I take into our kitchen, right? In the kitchen, we have been given 5 kg of wheat, flour, assume. So that is raw material. So when you give that to the chapati maker, right? Then what will happen? You are expecting at least some 300 chapatis from the 5 kg of I don't know whether it is a real number or not. I really don't know whether you can get the 300 of chapatis from 5 kg of wheat flour. Assume, okay. So 300 you are expecting from the 5 kg, by giving that to the equipment. But what is happening? It is not producing 300, but it's only producing 150 at one time. So another time, when you give again 5 kg, it is giving some 120 chapatis. Other time it is giving 170 chapatis. Other time it is giving 180 chapatis for other 5 kg. So like that, for last 1 year, you understood that for different times, right? On the different days, every day you are giving 5 kg raw flour and you are getting some 120 or 130 or 150 or 180 chapatis on every day. Okay, like that it is happening. So now the problem is that you are asking me, so optimize this process. Okay, so you do whatever you want. You look into my data and you give me the solution. How can I improve my productivity? Productivity means if I give 5 kg, I should get 300 chapatis. If not 300, at least 280 or 290 or 270, but not like 150 or 180. Right? That is the challenge they have given. Right? Then what I have to do, sir, in this case? Right? I have to look into the tablet preparation mechanism in the case of my pharma use case. In the case of this kitchen use case, I have to see that the process, how that chapati is getting made, right? How much quantity of water they are adding to the flour, and how much duff they are preparing, and how they are preparing, where is the raw material is getting wasted, right? Sometimes what happens, right? If the pan, right? If the pan is not good, so many of chapatis will be burnt out. Means the production may be lost. That is where the many of chapatis are rejected for the serve, right? Plenty of problems can be there. If I come to your kitchen and if I look into the process, right, I can let you know. So where is the problem? That is the data scientist will do. Investigation, that's all. Okay, they do investigation by looking into the data, by not having assumptions. Okay, so there are sensors. Sensors, nothing but they collect the temperature. They collect the data without human intervention, right? There are sensors, right? There are rain sensors, there are temperature sensors, there are what sensors you will see. For example, finger recognition sensor is there in your touch pads in the mobiles. Sensors are there out there everywhere. Even AC sensors also, right? Automatically your room can be auto controlled by detecting the room temperature, right? Smart homes are there now. They have sensors everywhere. Anyway, so in this pharma, whatever I'm working on, right, they have a lot of sensors in their manufacture phase. So they collect variety of information. Variety of data. So all that numbers I look into, and then I tell them that, so when you control that heating temperature between some some 20 degrees to 30 degrees, right, you will get some good quality and more number of chapatis which are not burnt out, saving some what do you say, your raw material outcome there, right? By tweaking the temperature parameter. Example I'm telling. So like that, I tell them some pressure parameters. Okay, sometimes I'll tell them RH parameter. RH means relative humidity, we call it. So some insights by looking into the data. I generate some insights, and I advise to the pharma manufacturers that if you do my recommendations, then you will get more production. That means you will save a lot of amount of raw material there. In terms of, you can save a lot of amount of crores of save actually. Okay. So such kind of investigation I'll do in this way. First, I'll be pointed out with the data. I'll do statistical data analysis to understand what is happening in the data or what happened in the data. As I said, descriptive analytics. Descriptive analytics I apply. Nothing but statistical data analysis I do. Later I'll do data processing. Nothing but some kind of data transformations I do over the data using pandas. And later I apply machine learning techniques, nothing but these regression classification technique or the unsupervised learning technique, right? I know what to be applied because I have studied the subject. If you also study the subject, you can also get to know what machine learning in technique can be applied over the data, so that you can give the right insights to the business, right? So like that, this is the very standard flow of activities every data scientist do in a machine learning project, in the data science project. Okay, they'll be pointed out to the data storage. Then they collect the necessary data. The data scientist actually will query the table, and they'll get necessary data. Then statistical analysis they perform, nothing but descriptive statistics they perform. Later data processing they do, and this is where Python skills are required to clean up the data. So once the data is cleaned up, then you supply that to the machine learning algorithms. This is where you perform training. Machine learning algorithms you train over the data. That is where they learn the pattern in the data. Accordingly, once the training is over, you can use these better performing models in the real time to predict something, and this will work in the right way actually. So I have realized, right, plenty of savings to the current organization here, crores of rupees. The same thing will happen. So you can also help the business to save a lot of amount of money. Forget about the business, you can serve the society, right? So by plenty of ways, by working for the plenty of organizations there. You can work in the agriculture industry, okay, to help the farmers, right? You can work with the universities to provide the better quality education using the modern this AI technology. This can happen. There are plenty of problems. You have to be able to frame the problems, right? Anyway, so I think what I talked just now may not make sense much to you, but for the curious minds there, listening there, for some people maybe it was helpful. Okay, so but not everybody. That's okay. So yeah. So then fields involved in data science, as I said. So not only one thing, you need this little bit of statistical knowledge, a little bit of data processing techniques, a little bit of domain expertise, a little bit of mathematics, but not heavy here, very little. Machine learning techniques, and all these techniques, when you combine, that is where the data science is. They look many here, but actually they're so simple. They're very much interconnected. Okay, if you spend some months of time, maybe 3 to 4 months of time seriously, you can become a very beginner, efficient data scientist in the right direction. Okay, I had some more slides to show, but I have talked without these slides. Okay. Yeah, let me take a pause again. Yeah, if you have any more questions, we can discuss.
Sir,
Yeah.
is more programming skills are required for joining in data science?
No, ma'am. No, not at all. So let me show you Python Pandas. Very simple programming language it is. You know it, right? I think you must have gone through a couple of programming languages out of there. So Python Pandas is a very simple programming. Python is very simple programming language, and Pandas is the very simple library to work with. No software, I mean nothing but program writing skills are required. Okay, here you are the analyst, not the programmer. Remember that. Data scientist, not the programmer. He or she is the analyst.
Okay.
And as part of their work, they are expected to work with the these software systems. Like our software is there, right? You will use Python and as the programming language, which is very simple to pick up. Especially Pandas library is something you have to focus on. I was telling. Then there is something called as the R programming language. It is okay if you know this as well. R Studio we call it, right? Yeah, this one. Then whatever is interested, you can learn it. R is also very simple programming language, and whatever you know here, the same thing you will see here. Both are somehow the jargon is same in the Pandas and in the R Studio. Yeah, you can pick up either Python or R programming language. So not in-depth skills are required. Very basic Python programming is enough. Simply, if you know how to construct the if-else blocks, and if you know how to construct the for loops, right, and these Pandas, enough.
Okay, sir, thank you for the information.
Yeah, you can go through the online tutorials on the Pandas. Then you understand how simple it is. It is again not about writing plenty of loops and blocks. Okay, Pandas will simplify plenty of complex things. With one function call, you can do plenty of things. Very excellent things. Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
So the participants, any queries from your side? So I hope no queries. Sir. Yeah, someone is having query. Who is that?
Sir, what do you exactly mean by domain expert?
Yeah, so I said just now, right? Pharma, for example, I said I was working in the pharma company, which is the Dr. Reddy's company. So where I don't have any expertise of the pharma, right? I did not do any B pharmacy or D pharmacy courses or M pharmacy courses, right? But still I was able to work as data scientist in the pharma company, right? I did not realize that, or I did not imagine that I could work in the pharma company, but I am working there, right? Without having the domain knowledge. Domain knowledge means I don't have any B pharma degree, right? Or I don't have any M pharma degree, or I don't have any pharma basics at all. But still I'm able to work. But a person who did their B pharmacy or M pharmacy, if they learn the data science, right, then they can really do much better than me. Okay. So they don't need much help with the pharma knowledge. I have pharma knowledge. For everything, I have to inquire the pharma guys. If I don't understand, something in the data, right? There is a data. I don't understand something in the data. I should inquire the pharma guy there. I should, I should rely on them. If I was the pharma graduate and with the data science skills, right, I could have done better. This gap will reduce. I never inquire pharma guy again because I know, what is data is, right? So domain knowledge means if you are working on, for example, pharma industry, you should know a little bit about the, pharma domain. Right, pharma domain means some little bit of the jargon of the pharma. Then you can be, you can help the business in the little better way. But it's not necessary. Domain knowledge will help you to cut down just this communication bridge. That's all. Okay, that's all. For example, if I work in the banking, right, then I need not to do any banking course. For example, you are you are going to work for a JP Morgan bank on tomorrow, for example, as a data scientist. That means you are not expected to know everything about the banking, right? So once you are into your data science profession, right, slowly you will get to know the financial, jargon. So that is what called as the domain knowledge. So you should know, you will get to know about the banking systems once you are into the role, right? Not before. Sometimes there can be people who are from the BCom or some financial courses, so they can also learn data science and they can work in the JP Morgan. When you compare with that guy who came from the financial background, right, he can do little better in the initial days, but later these both will become equal, right? Because you also learn something about the finance sector. So that means if you work in the bank, the banks and the finance sectors, if you know something about the finance jargon, then you can say you have some domain knowledge. If you work in the pharma industry and you know something about the pharma jargon, then you can say you have the pharma domain knowledge, right? Like that, every industry own domain knowledge, nothing but some jargon. That is something called as domain knowledge. You should know something about it. For example, if you work for a jewelry sales company, Lalita Jewelers, right? So do you know how to sell the jewelry items? No, but you can work for the Lalita Jewelry in certain way to provide the analytics solutions there. That means you will learn something from the jewelry salespeople there. So not the jeweler guy can become data scientist, but data scientist can understand the jewelry sales process and he can give the better solutions, right? Yeah, domain knowledge will help, but it is not mandatory.
Thank you.
Any more queries? Yeah, I hope no queries from the audience. Mr. Praveen Garu, I have a small question.
Yeah.
Will you please enlighten that what are the job opportunities in the data science and which companies are offering the data science jobs? And what is the salary package? What is the future in the data science? Will you please enlighten these kind of things to the audience?
Sure. Okay, guys. So that is, I think, a very important question to you. On the behalf of you, our sir has asked this question. That's great. So you might have heard, right, in the news somewhere, or if you have read some news, or if you have browsed the internet, right, the current industry, there is a very large need for data scientists. Okay, really very large need for data scientists, and equal demand is there for the big data as well. Nothing but Hadoop and Spark I was talking just now, right? Data engineers. So for the data engineers and data scientists, for these guys, there is a lot of demand in the market. So how long it will continue? At least for next 8 to 12 years. Okay, there is a huge need. If you learn these skills by spending at least for 4 to 5 months of time, not more than that. Okay, along with your regular curriculum, with your interest, right? If you spend some 3 to 4 hours per day, right, for maybe 3 to 4 months, maybe after your completion of course as well, right, your regular course as well, if you spend at least in this much amount of time, you can be into the industry, and if you learn these skills now, you can be into the industry anytime in the future. Okay, and the demand is there, very huge demand is there for next 8 to 10 years, especially in the data science, in the analytics space. Okay, so deep learning especially. So deep learning, if you master, then yeah, the packages you can expect like anything. Anything means, let me give you a rough figure. So for the data science jobs, right, so very small company, if you take, so they'll offer you at least 5 lakhs per annum, okay, or 6 lakhs per annum, where that is very minimum, right, for data scientist. So provided you have some certification. Certification means you have done some course in the data science, maybe from that your regular academic curriculum, or can be it is a separate course. Better to have some certification as a beginner. Okay, because what is happening in the industry, right? Everybody looks for the experienced people only, but which is not possible, right? So experienced people will be there, but there are beginners, right? Those also should get opportunity. That means how can they gain the opportunity? So definitely you have to finish some online data science course. Okay, I strongly suggest you that if you want to be in the data science field, right, apart with your curriculum, better you do additional certification, any online certification. Free courses are there in the Coursera or somewhere. So Udacity courses are there, Udemy courses are there, right, in the online platform. So apart from your regular academic courses, be focus on those certification kind of courses. They will be great investment for your bright future. It may be challenging for you, at the moment financially and time wise. It may be real difficult to you. It is okay, but you accept that challenge, and you somehow borrow money or whatever you want to do, you can do. But you must have to finish one certifications. That will really add a great value for your career. If you spend now, for example, 20,000, 22, 50,000 for your certification. Certification means from the prominent organizations only, prominent training courses only, not from everywhere. Okay, if you spend time, money and time there, then that will return you really huge, rewards in the future, and you will have very bright future. That is, one session I can give. So that is something you can immediately start working on, right? And for example, all of the people who are attending session right now, maybe 71 people, if you spend, this data science, I'm guarantee all of you will get jobs without leaving any one person. Okay, immediately next year, if you really invest time seriously, none of you are going to be having a career gap, right? Career is not going to be unemployed. So definitely, once you complete this, data science course in your academics or any training course, if you have the really, these Python Panda skills along with machine learning, packages skills, then yeah, you are really need for the industry. They care you a lot, and they're looking for guys like you a lot. And I know personally from RGKT, there are people who founded the AI companies and who are into the AI leading roles. Okay, I know a couple of you are super seniors, right? They are into the market right now. You can be inspired from them. They are like you. They were like you, right? So there's some key information I wanted to give you about the certification for your future. It is important, and every one of you definitely are going to have space in the job market for sure. In the data science itself, every one of you, I'm telling you, from entire your university can gain opportunity. That much of those many positions are there in the market right now. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Praveen Garu, for providing this such an interactive section with our participants. Actually, these AI and data science, it is not feasible to deliver in these 2 hours of span. Actually, it is very tough to deliver these AI and data science. But you have somehow managed to cover the main topics and give the glance of the AI and data science to the participants. It is very nice, and the interactive the section is very much interactive, and the participants are also interacted with you very much. So I thank you again and again. You told that you are willing to give some that means some kind of technical section to the audience. I will plan definitely someday. Definitely, it is not a kind of a 2-hour section. It is a kind of 2-3 days kind of section, technical section to the participants. Thank you very much for joining with us in a short notice of time, actually. So I request you to please join in the evening in the validity section also, if possible. Thank you. Thank you very much, Praveen Garu.
Thanks, sir. So thanks for your nice words. This session. Actually, I feel pleasure to deliver these kind of sessions, especially for the beginners, like this. And I'm not educated. Even Satya also one of my, during my study in the IIIT and earlier to that. And I have a lot of friends there in the RGKT still. They're working there. I'm very much interested to deliver any technical sessions in the future as well. When you have some time, you can plan for a workshop. Say, as you said, 1 or 2 or 3 days of workshop we can have, definitely. And okay, I'll try to be there in the evening if time permits. But I'm really pleased with the huge participation here. And I'm surprised that without break, the people were sitting for last maybe 2 hours. It is really a great thing. I'm really, so much, happy today. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Praveen.
Right, sir.
For an excellent session. So you have delivered an excellent content to the audience. So it's a short span of time. You have covered what you want to do. So thanks for your acceptance to this webinar. In future, we'll plan for a workshop after this pandemic. After this pandemic, we'll plan for a workshop. Maybe you are serious workshop, we'll plan for our students. It is a great pleasure to have you. Friends, here I am sharing the link for
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Here I am sharing the link. Please fill the link to get our attendance. So here we are having another session in afternoon from 2:30 onwards. So please be joined in the session. So that is on DevOps, emerging technology for the current board. Thank you all. You can leave. After you can leave.
Thanks, Satya. Thanks for the day. And one thing I was, looking into the chat window. People are looking for some, pointers, resources. I'll share that with our HOD and Satya. I think they'll share you the important resources in the right way. Okay. That's all, sir. So have a nice day. See you then. Bye for the day.
Thanks for the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, dear participants, I will collect the material from Praveen and I will share to you. Thank you. You can leave the session. Please be there an opportunity.